Hello everyone. So happy to be here. So today is class number 52, which is an apropos number because it's the number of weeks in a year. So 52 classes, akin to 52 weeks of the year, akin to a cycle. So today will be my last daily class, but I will be doing a weekly class every Sunday. So the next class, Viral Wisdom number 53, will be next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, at 1 p.m. an hour later, on my main Facebook page and on Instagram. So from tomorrow, don't be waiting for me at noon. If you are, I will be coming once a week. So sign in, tell me where you're from. So happy to be with you. Kid from South Africa, Hani from the mountains, Jenny from Florida. Hi guys, happy to be here with you. So let me know where you're signing in from and we will begin in a minute. Positive Life from Lebanon. I love these names, these screen names we all have. So once again, this is Viral Wisdom 52. This will be the end of my weekly classes, but I will be doing them once a week. They will be on my Instagram and main pages once a week on Sundays. So the next class will be next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all for being with me. I'm happy that you're here. So I began this series really because I could see very clearly from the start that this pandemic was here to offer us tremendous life lessons, tremendous teachings if we were willing to be open, alert, awake, and very, very bold. If we were willing to be courageous, this twist of affairs, this pandemic, I could see had the potential and has the potential to create a new zeitgeist, to turn the paradigm, to shift culture, to be a marking event, a turning point, a leaping point for humanity. But it requires a set of ingredients. And the ingredients that it requires, in essence, are courage. Courage to do what? Courage to combat the greatest virus of all. You see, this pandemic that we're in is due to a virus that is not the greatest virus. There is a greater virus. The virus that we're in right now is a biological virus. It'll come and it'll go. It doesn't affect all sentient beings. It doesn't affect the earth as much. It affects our biology. Yeah, it's a big virus, no doubt about it. But there is a greater virus, a greater scourge of humanity. And that is our mental delusions, our ignorance. And the only vaccination against mental delusion, which you're seeing so clearly right now in America, what is being bred from gross mental delusion. The only antidote to mental delusion is wisdom, is a shift in consciousness, is a rise in consciousness. The only combatant to the ills of all humanity is only in the eradication of mental delusions, which is, in other words, the rise in consciousness. So my work in conscious parenting helped eradicate the delusions of the parental unconsciousness. It looked at traditional parenting and it saw it for its perversions. It saw the old way as the ignorant way. And it proposed a new way, a new zeitgeist, a zeitgeist of a transformed consciousness, of an understanding that the belief systems the old parenting paradigm was mired under were shackles, were enslavements, were encagements of both parent and child. And until and unless we release those shackles, we would keep raising generations after generations of children who, like us, would be mentally deluded. So the only way to remove the shackles of our next generation's delusions was for the parent to heal, for the parent to raise themselves, for the parent to rise in consciousness. So this was my work in parenthood, in eradication of the parental unconscious, or the reduction of the parental unconscious. You can't eradicate it. It's too vast, a demon, too huge a monster to eradicate, but we could poke it at least. We could take out its grandeur. So what you're seeing now in America, as America burns, the reason it burns today is not because of something that happened today. It burns today because of the aggregation, the accumulation, the culmination, I hope, of eons, of decades of gross mental delusion. And what is the gross mental delusion of what we're seeing in America today? It is the delusion of white supremacy. This is not against white people. White supremacy marauds and attacks everyone, including white people. White supremacy is a delusion of the mind. It is an ideological perversion. It is an ideology that believes that a certain race is superior than the other. And trust me, all of the world is infected by whiteification and the whiteified patriarchy that we all live under. And until we understand the sickness at the top in ideological terms, we will not understand the sickness in mental terms of the babies, of the children of that ideology. So when I talk about the delusion of white supremacy, white people may take offense. They don't need to take offense. This is not against any one person. This is about an ideology that has steeped in our culture for the past 5,000 to 6,000 years especially. It is an ideology that is dominated by a way of thinking that believes that it is better than. It is no different than the popular girls at school who are the bullies who believe that they are better than. It is no better than or no worse than the parent who at home who believes that simply because of their hierarchical power that they are better than. It is an ideology of division. It is an ideology of separation. It is an ideology of one over the other. In this current paradigm, it happens to be a whiteified ideology, an ideology of white supremacy, right? But if it was an ideology of people with green eye supremacy, it would be the same perversion. So please, white people, don't take offense. I'm not talking about you at all. I'm talking about the delusion of a certain ideology that exists in the world today. And guess what? We are all infected with it. Indian people, brown as can be, infected by white supremacist ideologies, where they too, Indian people, my people, want only light-skinned people. Why? Because they've been whiteified. They've been whiteified. Why? Because this is the predominant ideology and we're all infected. It's a contagion. So the real pandemic that we will always live with, even after coronavirus has left. Coronavirus will come and it'll go, and maybe we will find a vaccine or maybe we will not. But the real virus lies in the psychology of humanity, lies in our mental delusion. And that's what we should be really worried about. And it's no synchrony, it's no coincidence that right now America is burning. It's no twist of some strange fate. This is logical. It is logical that right now the rise of racial tension is at its peak. Why? Because this is what pandemics do. I've been saying this from the start, that now we're going to see what lies within. Why? Because the outside, the external has been shattered, has been stripped, has been crushed. So anytime the outside gets crushed, now the inside gets revealed, right? I always say any trauma in our lives on the external will now reveal the character within. Right now, without the marriage, without the money, without the job, without the Botox, without the hair dye, who are you inside? So it is no strange coincidence that right now we're getting to see what lies beneath the skin of America. It is no strange twist of fate. It is perfectly logical that we would see what we are seeing right now, because the pandemic has taken off the band-aid, has taken off the guise. First, it showed that the pandemic struck those who are the poorest and those who are the downtrodden of our society. And it showed us that we have not been taking care of the downtrodden. And in America, they are the black people. It already began there. Already we began seeing the inequity of how the healthcare system and how healthcare in America is distributed. We already began to see an inequity. We already began to see the separation that was lying underneath. But now we begin to see not one incidence of brutality against black people. Not one, not two, many. Why? And we can see it now because we are in concentrated awareness at home. We're not busy in our own lives. We're not, consumed by our own maladies. Now we're all on alert, right? The pandemic has put us all on vigilance. We're all watching. What next? And now our eyes are open because we have time. For the first time in a bizarre way, I know many people are busy with their children who are taking up all their time, but in a strange way, because baseball has been cancelled, and because there's no travel basketball, and because there's no ballet classes and piano lessons, and no tutors coming home, and no scheduled activities, and no barbecues, and no fancy clothes to buy, suddenly we have a space of psychic time and energy. And now we're watching. And because we are more vigilant, at least here in America, we are now noticing. But this is not racial tensions of today. These have been going on all the time. And now we're just noticing, and now we're sick of it, right? At least those who are sick of it are sick of it. Now it's coming, the pus is rising to the surface. You see, the Band-Aid is out, and now the wounds are calling to be healed. How can we heal, right? And now the anger is showing because now it is at all costs. Now there's nothing to lose. You see, this is what the pandemic does, and this is why so many couples in marriages are going to break up, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Why? Because the stuff that was beneath the Band-Aid was being hidden from view. But now the Band-Aid is off, and now the people are like, who are you? Did I marry you? Are you the same person I married? Right? And now we're beginning to see who we are without the distractions. Now we have our partners home 24/7, and it isn't pretty, is it? It's okay. This is a good thing. All that is happening is that the pus from beneath that was already there and festering is coming to the surface. So this is nothing to be afraid of. In your own life, if you're seeing the schisms and the chasms, these are good things if you're brave enough to see. I started by saying it will take courage. Courage to see what? Courage to see mental delusions in their naked, raw, vulnerable, organic state, without cover-ups, without masks, without lipstick. This is a good thing if you have courage. If you don't have courage, this is a terrible thing indeed. Then you better run away and just go under your blankets and watch a lot of Netflix. But if you have courage, and I believe if you've been listening to me, you have courage, then we together can say to ourselves, it's time for me to look in the mirror. It's time for me to see the crevices. It's time for me to see the broken spots as they are. And I'm not going to be covering it up. Whether you're single, whether you're in relationship, you are beginning to see the chasms in all of your life, in your love for your body or not, in your eating habits, in your relationship with your mother, your sisters, your brothers, your friends, your passion, your purpose. You're beginning to see in all areas of your life what is broken and what is flourishing. And if you are seeing that it's broken, do not be afraid. This is a wake-up call. This is a good thing to see. This is what you're seeing is the homeostasis that has always been underneath the bells and whistles. Now we're returning to what the baseline is. And it's very important that we see the baseline. And in America, the baseline that we're always going to return to, the default, it's a default, you see, it's a fault. It's a fault line. The default is a fault line in the earth foundation of America. And the default here, which is the chasm, is the racial tension. The country was built on racialism and it will burn in racialism. So it is with all our relationships. If it was built on inauthenticity, then it will burn in inauthenticity. But that's a good thing, because we want to burn inauthenticity. We don't want to glorify inauthenticity. We don't want to hide it. So today America is burning because it needs to burn. It has to burn. Inauthenticity must burn. If you're going to divorce your partner post-pandemic, not right now, it's okay. It is a divorce from inauthenticity. If you're beginning to let go of friendships and relationships in your life, it's okay. It's a departure. It's an end of the inauthentic cycle. Good. Let the page turn. It like our book is filled with pages, and the pages need to turn in order for the story to be told. But we simply don't. Pandemic, because the reading has stopped, so to speak. No more books are being written. Now it's time to turn your page. It takes courage. I've said this from the start. You cannot turn it if you don't have courage. But the courage comes when you realize there is nothing more to lose. And that's why the black people are protesting, because they are tired. They're like, there is nothing more to lose. And they don't care anymore, because their screams have not been heard for eons, and it is time for their screams to be heard. Just like your child, when your child doesn't hear you, it will resort to any way to get your attention. It will slam the doors, it'll poke the skin with heroin needles, it'll snort some coke, any way to say, do you hear me? Do you see me? Right? So it is time to teach our children, don't be afraid of the page turning. And the page will turn, and it'll be uncomfortable. There will be tears, there will be loss. But life, in order to be authentic, to be flourishing, to be joyful, needs to go through the unconscious pages. Those unconscious pages have become our habit. So when we let go of unconsciousness, it actually feels like a loss. But it isn't a loss. Loss of inauthenticity is a gain, but because we've been wearing inauthenticity as a mask, when we lose it, we feel we've lost something. But the only thing we've lost is the false self, is the inequity, is the cruelty, is the heinousness of the past. But it feels like a loss. So right now, the black people protesting feels like chaos. It's not chaos. The chaos was already there. This is just the manifestation of the chaos. Nothing comes to be that wasn't already was. There wasn't already was. Krishnamurti always says, this is my favorite quote of J.D. Krishnamurti, is how it began is how it will end. How it began is how it will end. So I always tell new couples going into relationships, heal yourself now. Take a sabbatical right now. If you want a chance with your partner for the next 20 years, go heal right now. Because you're coming into this relationship broken. And if you start broken, it will end broken. But that's not a bad thing. None of this is bad. It just is. It's just a symbol of whatever was inside. It's just the external expression of what is inside. Right? You can put your lipstick, and you can put your Botox, and you can comb your hair really beautiful. But ultimately, if you're not okay inside, if you're not in alignment inside, it's going to come out. Similarly here. So don't call the black protests riots in a pejorative term. Don't call them thugs and criminals. No, call them people who are fed up of screaming that their people are being killed, and stop calling them those people and start calling them my people, me. And as we shift the focus and realize that what is outside is inside. I always say that I wrote this article saying, what was my article called for the Huffington Post? You are your own jihadist. The inner jihad. The inner jihad. I called it the inner jihad. And till then, Huffington Post had been taking all my articles, and then it didn't take this one. I stopped writing for the Huffington Post. I have to protest too. So why did they not like it? Because I was shining the mirror. I was like, don't look at the terrorists on the outside. Look at your own inner terrorists. Look at how you yourself live in racism, in bigotry, in stereotypes. You may not do it to the person on the street, but you'll do it with your children. You'll do it to yourself, right? How many of us are terribly perpetrating of our own essence? How many of us are the most cruel perpetrators of our own spirit, right? So bigotry and racism and bullyism is happening internally, and it's happening with everyone on the outside. So only when you own that you are capable of being racist, or you are capable, so capable, you are. There is nobody on this earth who has not had a racist thought. Everybody, including the white person, including the whitest supremacist person, they all think that somebody else is better than them. All of them. All of us are plagued by inferiority at the end of the day, right? The inferiority which is based in fear, called inferiority. And because we all have inferiority, we all believe somebody else is better than us, we have all committed racism. We've all been racist. Because if you have an idea that we are lesser than, we're going to want to seek more than. You see, the white supremacist is not a white supremacist because he feels all great. He doesn't. He feels this small. And because he feels so inferior in fear, he acts out with supremacy. It's a delusion. It's a delusion of the mind that is actually covering up deep insecurity. You, in your own life, want to look better than the other and want to wield your power over your children. Why? And when? Only when your children and others make you feel small. When they make you feel small, you want to be greater than. And by the fact that all of us have been made to feel small, and because all of us have at some point in our lives or another acted greater than, we've all been part of racism. Racism is the delusion of thinking that you are better than another race, another color, another people, another person. It doesn't matter, right? Racism in its pure term is against another race, but the attitude lies within us all. And so white supremacy is the delusion of white supremacy, because what it actually is a cover-up for great, gross, abundant inferiority. Inferiority against the black person, right? So actually, the black person is what they're so scared of, right? They're like, you will overpower me, you are stronger than me. That's what they're really saying, but they cover it up by being, I'm better, right? This is the perversion. This is the mental delusion. This is ignorance. And we have it on the macro, global level, we have it on the nation level, and we have it in our homes, and we have it against ourselves. So until we understand that the greatest pandemic is the pandemic of mental delusion, the real virus is mental delusion, because this will continue on forever. Climate crisis, killing of endangered species, hating each other, divorce being a bad thing because we can't stand the other one to win, bullying at schools, women emaciating themselves because they feel they're less beautiful, right? Plastic surgerizing themselves to death. All of this occurs because of mental delusions. Delusions of beliefs that make you believe you are lesser than, which make you want to be more than, right? It is the delusion of separation. When I believe I'm separate than you, I then compare myself to you. I want to be better than you. Why? Because I feel less than you, and I want to dominate you. If I thought I was enough, and I was completely content with my imperfections, and I was completely whole and hearty inside, then when I see you, I honor you, I honor me. I don't see you as greater than, I don't see you as lesser than, because I'm whole. Now, me, whole, can greet and honor the wholeness in you. And this doesn't mean perfection. This actually means honoring each one's imperfections. And as each of us accept and honor each other's imperfections, without the need for hierarchical superiority, which comes from inferiority, we will then enter a spirit of unification. We will end the delusion of separation and enter unification. This virus has shown us that if we are not unified, if we don't act cooperatively, if we do not enter a global communion, we will not win. We will all die. Similarly, we need a psychological unification with each other, where we do not see each other as separate. It's no longer your God will protect you on Tuesday and my God will protect me on Friday. No more. Oneness, one humanity, no separation. Only when we get here, which begins with very hard work within. It's not going to be him and her and Jack and Sally on the outside who are going to achieve this. It has to come from you and me inside. So until we unify from within, each one of us, we will continue the schism outside. The plague of the delusion of white supremacy upon which the entire globe rests. The minority of the white supremacy, they're actually a minority in fear of being annihilated, but they don't have to be in fear because we are not going to be a threat. When they can see that they are actually living in a mask of superiority, because actually they're afraid of being so insecure. And when we can remove our masks of inferiority and start rising up, then both can meet together. Imperfection with imperfection. Acceptance with acceptance. There will be no more a hierarchy based on delusion. Now, of course, there's a hierarchy based on, am I taller? Are you shorter? Sure. But not a hierarchy based on false ideology. And white supremacy is a false ideology. It doesn't even exist. It should not exist because it's a cover-up for great fear inside. But so it is with all our masks. All our masks are cover-ups for great inner fear. The more we paint our faces as women, the more we're afraid to show our true selves, right? The more we hide behind 6 Bentleys and 14 rooms in our home, the more we're trying to hide our insecurity. Actually, as this virus has shown us, we do not need a lot. We do not need a whole lot. We just need each other. So as we begin to understand that there is no white, there is no black, but we're all shades of brown, and we're all one together, then we stop attacking each other and realize that the separation was an illusion. It doesn't exist. So again, I'm not talking against white people. I'm talking against the ideology that is known as white supremacy, which is a delusion, right? My work is to point out our delusions. And one of them that we're currently seeing in America today is the delusion of white supremacy. But all my work is about the delusion of supremacy, period. The delusion of parental supremacy, the delusion of male over female, husband over wife, all of it. The ego of supremacy is the main virus. The virus of false beliefs that my ego says I'm better than you. This is the ego of separation, and this is the true virus. This is the plague and the scourge of humanity. Until we have an ego of separation which says I'm better than, because I'm actually feeling insecure too, only then will we level the playing field and all of us will live cooperatively. We don't have to like each other. This is not about opinion. This is about the necessity for our survival, which is interdependence, interconnection. The virus has shown this so beautifully, but will we listen? Will we wake up? Will we have the courage? Will we dare to see our own ego of separation? It begins with one to another to another. It is a slow process, but it can also be a rapid change of zeitgeist, because as much as it takes time, if it is done in a tidal wave, it can occur in a moment. So let us begin the domino effect of raising our own consciousness, of removing our own delusions of fear and separation. And let's begin the domino effect. The virus has set it in motion, but it is up to us to keep it moving. So each and every day you wake up now, keep the lesson that I need to annihilate, crush, decimate my ego of supremacy, my ego of separation. And as I crush it day by day, then together, globally, we can enter a unified consciousness. It can happen right now. The domino can start now. You begin by toppling your own inner delusions, your own inner hierarchies, your own inner attachments. Start with you and set the domino in motion. This is the challenge of the virus, and this is my challenge to you. So thank you all for joining me on this journey of understanding viral wisdom. And today, on day number 52, symbolic of the number of weeks in the year, I will stop doing these every single day, but I will do them every week on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you want to keep learning with me on a daily basis, I do teach free meditation on my other Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/get superpowered/. That's another Facebook group I have where you have to opt in to come. You will be approved, and then you can join my daily meditations. I will be continuing that for free and daily. I cannot thank you all enough for joining me on this journey of viral wisdom. It was a spontaneous inspiration, and it turned out to be a sort of unifier, and I'm so honored that you took the time to listen and be part of this community, and hope you will continue being part of my community. Sign up for my newsletter, take one of my courses, but be connected. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. I'm humbled that you even listened, and I'm so grateful that you are willing to take on the challenge of crumbling your own inner supremacy. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Instagram. Join me on Facebook. Sign up for my newsletter. Bye, guys.